Moment of truth. Is it? All right, looks like it is. Shanif, what's up, man? How are you doing?
Hey, again, I am good. How about yourself?
I'm well, thanks. Are you calling in from New York?
I'm from New York. I'm Midtown East,
All
49th
right.
and 2nd.
Are we gonna hear a lot of sirens and shenanigans, or it's more the business crowd right now where you're at?
Yeah, we're silent right now, but 5 minutes, I'm sure I hear something. I sometimes hear things at 2 a.m. That's just part of being here.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, welcome everyone. I don't know how many people we will have or do have, but regardless, what I do know that we'll have is a good presentation because, and we'll get into this later. Writing content's not easy. How are you doing it with it so far?
I'm pretty much doing what you told me to do, which is what we're going to go over on today's call. Right now, before we first chatted, maybe a couple of years ago, it would take me at least like a day, maybe a day and a half to outline a piece of long form content, do the research, come up with the content. You and I started talking about this specific problem about a month or two ago. Excited, super excited for you to go over sort of the process you've given me. And now I basically have an AI use information about my business to come up with really high quality 3,000, 4,000 word pieces of content within an hour or two using my guidance. So really thankful to you. And I'm excited for all the folks out there who are going to be able to learn from you today.
All right, cool. Do you ever feel bad that you have spent so much time in AI and then just starting to actually use it? You're just like building it for other people to use?
I sort of am excited. I'm more of an optimist when it comes to
Yeah,
AI than I feel bad. I wish
no,
I
no
had it
regrets.
sooner.
Yeah.
I wish I had it sooner, and it's not always perfect. So there is still a lot of work for me to do to guide it, provide it sort of management. But I would say I'm really excited more than anything when it comes to this stuff. How about
All right.
yourself?
Yeah, I do have regrets, but it's like, I can't do anything about it. But in the meantime, should we just like start with this?
Well,
So we're 1 minute after. I want to go through everything, and then I'm hoping that while we're doing this, you can ask questions or share comments, thoughts from your experience as well, uh, because yeah, we've been through it before. Um,
absolutely. So for everyone who's watching live, we are keeping track of any questions that come in from LinkedIn, from YouTube. I'll be keeping track as Gan chats. I'll also be asking a few questions here and there. So I'm excited, and we hope you guys give us a lot of questions because we want this to be as interactive as possible.
All right, cool. So yeah, this is it. This is the Marketer's Guide to AI-driven content creation, and I came up with this text. It's not from AI, but I realized that a lot of people might struggle with understanding how to actually get started incorporating AI into their workflow. And I think the text-to-text AI, something like a ChatGPT or Bard or Claude, is a great way to get started because often our day-to-day, whether you are a software engineer like you, Shanif, or a marketer like me, like a lot of our communication comes down to text. Even if a lot of it is video, you might be writing scripts, you might be doing your titles and descriptions. So writing is foundational to what we're doing online. And I think that there's so much that can be done with AI and content creation. It's just a great place to start. So my goal here is to make this as tactical and applicable to everybody, whether you're a marketer, whether you're a programmer. But there are going to be fundamentals here, tools that I share or talk about, prompts that we discuss that will be applicable. And so in this, and Shanif, you can prompt me and or help me along with this to understand or to like remind me to explain things, because I don't want to gloss over things. I want this to be whether you are just starting this or you're more advanced. It's not like what you're supposed to do as a marketer, target everyone, but I really do want this to be actionable, and I want this to be helpful to a broad swath of people. We'll get into that. But to start, quick overview of what we'll be learning today: the tools and strategies to reverse engineer top ranking content. I think like one thing that I've learned is that there is value and there's no shame in seeing, all right, what are people doing well, and then what elements are driving that success, and then how can you replicate that, and ideally how can you do it better. So that's the first thing. Then we're going to be getting into specifically how you can create better content with the AI writing tools. And then for the SEO purposes, how you can optimize it. So what you might see as a great piece of content might not read the same way to Google. So you might be missing some of the elements. It's very subtle to the human eye, but of course that's where robots and AI can come in to help guide you to make those improvements. So that's what we'll cover. And then the last thing are just the tools and prompts. And so this is what I'm talking about in terms of actionable stuff that I want to share these ideas. And then of course, if you want, you can have them. So quick introduction. Shanif, maybe you can start with your background.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks again. Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for jumping on this webinar. So really quickly, my background is mostly in software and AI. Right now, I'm working on a company called Locusive, which helps businesses connect their internal data to ChatGPT so they can do things like build their own AI tools, search bots, chat bots. Been working in AI for about 10 years, was over at Twitter a few years ago, working on their ads team, trying to predict what users were going to do next. So big data geek, love AI. I've started using it on a day-to-day basis. And so I'm really excited to be here. Feel free to ask me any questions you guys have. Thanks again.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. So yeah, I've 12 years, been a marketer for 12 years, starting as an intern at an e-commerce store, which come full circle. I'm actually working at Marketer Hire, and the co-founder was my boss back then, Rajan Namani. But I've been in, more specifically for the past, since 2015, so 8 years, in e-commerce SaaS. I was part of the founding team and VP of marketing at Jungle Scout, which is a leading Amazon product research tool, and started with my two co-founders at Prehook, which is an e-commerce quiz platform. We met at Jungle Scout. So I recently sold that company, or earlier this year, sold the company that we had bootstrapped, and we found a niche. We found some customers. Didn't necessarily hit the growth trajectory that we were hoping for at the outset, even though it was a very niche product. But I realized that I was maybe limited by the bandwidth. So if we are a bootstrap founder, marketer, there's only so much time in the day. There's only so many things that you can do. And either you can automate and use AI, like today, it's far easier than it was even just 2 years ago, or they fall by the wayside and you're just not doing them because there's only so much that can get done. So earlier this year, I wanted to get into AI and marketing because I realized that was a gap in my skill set that I think could have significantly helped with Prehook. So I dove headfirst into learning as much as I could about AI, and I wanted to get into the AI SaaS space because I did have a lot of time, experience, and love for working in software marketing. So I was a VP of marketing at Content at Scale until just a month or so ago. And now I'm doing Supermarketers full time, where I'm working on a newsletter and consulting, and really kind of the stuff that I'm going to be sharing today. And so when I was at Prehook, I took an inordinate amount of time to do the writing. And so sometimes I feel like, oh man, this is like not the best use of my time, or this is just, I'm just stuck. I'm getting frustrated, but it is necessary. And I did know that there was value because as these examples show, I was able to do my own content, which is important in terms of generating organic traffic and thought leadership. But then also that would be a stepping stone to doing partnerships and guest posts with other high profile brands. So I did a post here for AppSumo, which is a marketplace for software products. They have a very strong domain and a lot of clout with marketers. Postscript is a leading SaaS tool for e-commerce brands. Marketer Hire is a network of thousands of the best marketers in the world. And Spiro by CXL is one of the best agencies specifically for conversion rate optimization. And of course, I was writing for my own blog and doing my own podcast. So there was like a lot of time spent doing content and doing marketing, but I wonder now, and I kind of like do have some regrets that it was an allocation of time that could have been spent doing other things. And so that's kind of what led me down this path of AI and marketing. And so this is how I felt. I was like, you want to like pull your hair out. You got the devil on one side your shoulder and you're like, what am I doing? I don't necessarily look like that, but that's how I felt. My question is, if there's anybody here who feels like this currently writing something, or Shanif, if you want to share a keyword that you're targeting or something that you want to write, I thought maybe it would be helpful as we're going through the educational process of like, here's how you do AI generated content. Maybe you can do it in real time.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's just like take a pass at it. What is something that you're working on that would be relevant for Locusive?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. Obviously, there's a benefit to me, but this whole process Gen's going to go through right now is going to be really interesting. So again, the most popular keyword that drives people to my website is custom chatbot. There's a subset of that called custom AI chatbot. So maybe custom chatbot for top of the funnel. Zachary here mentions, hey, he's currently working on YouTube automation. That could be something interesting.
Okay, YouTube
Anybody
automation.
else? Anybody else have any keywords that they think would be kind of cool to write a blog post about in real time? All right, why don't we go with Zach's suggestion here, if that sounds good to you, Gen? YouTube automation.
Perfect. Yeah, YouTube automation. Hey, Zach. So the first step, it sounds like you already have your keyword. This is the overview of what we'll be covering, where we're starting with the keyword these days. It is topic cluster, but then we'll go into how you'll find what the best ranking posts are doing. Then we'll create an outline from it. From that outline, we will go section by section to create the actual post, and then we'll optimize it. So this is where we have our kind of foundation of content, and then how can we make those incremental improvements that would have outsized gains in terms of organic traffic or ranking high on Google. And Shanif, definitely, I have a tendency to rush through this stuff. I'll say it's because I'm really excited about it, but also maybe it's just I'm glossing over things or might have some assumptions. So please just stop me, slow me down. Let's address things that aren't clear.
Absolutely.
Okay, so keyword research is kind of like the compass of how your content strategy will play out. It is how you can identify what your customers are looking for, the pain points, how you can solve those pain points, how you can get on their radar as your product or service to be more helpful. So this is really the foundation for, I think, for a holistic marketing strategy. But also once you've done your keyword research, and you can use AI, and I've done this to you do your keyword research here, the list of queries or phrases that our customers, our ideal customers, are searching in Google. We're going to write content that will help us rank and get in front of these search queries. And then we can get our content and offer in front of them. So good keyword research will help you identify what those phrases are or their search queries are. And specifically, especially if you're starting out, where it's lower competition and maybe greater opportunity. So these days, I do note here, topic clusters are more of a trending idea now. And I think it is driven by Google's search generative experience, their SGE, and where it might not necessarily be a specific search query, but it's what that kind of like the ulterior or the alternate meanings, that latent semantic index keywords. So synonyms, basically, what they are. So, all right, now let's get into like the nitty gritty of the keyword research. So you can definitely use, an Ahrefs or SEMrush or a paid SEO tool. My inclination is always to do things free and do things on the as scrappy as possible. And I think that would be also most helpful here, just to show like, okay, that ChatGPT can be a multi-purpose tool, keyword research being one of them. So the prompt here, and this is an example that I was doing at basketball shoes. I was in the market for basketball shoes. And so that was what I did. But basically, in creating the prompt, I wanted to start with a role. So that's always helpful to kind of like prime the large language model. So you're an experienced SEO and you're an expert at keyword research. Then I might want to give it a task or a goal, and that is to identify content ideas based on your keyword. So we're going to just kind of take this and I'm going to just do it specifically for. So I wrote it down here. We're going to do it specifically for YouTube automation, and that is actually I'm interested in seeing how this plays out. So I'm doing this for with GPT-4. You don't need GPT-4. You can use the free version. In the next step, we'll use GPT-4, but for now, we can just paste this in and insert your keyword. So related to YouTube automation. And then here we'll paste it here too. So this is for Zach. He's focused on YouTube automation, but let's just see, for example, like what some other long tail keywords are related to this, because YouTube automation might be a little bit competitive. Like if we look here, we're seeing New York Times, Udemy. These are like high domain authority sites, so it might be a little bit harder to rank on. But if we were to go even more long tail, what keywords might we find? So what's interesting to note here is maybe I didn't paste it in, but the reason why this has a table format, which I generally like because I think it's visually a little bit easier to see and to use. You just have to prompt in table format, give me the keyword and related content ideas. And actually, I don't think I pasted that in. So hence, that's the difference there. So let's just say, for example, that we were, instead of just going for more of a head term, more of a high volume search query like YouTube automation, what if we go more long tail where there might be lower competition, fewer people searching for it, but then also maybe fewer people or fewer sites that are competitive and hard to rank for are actually targeting that specific keyword. So Zach, if it's okay, maybe we could try this, or if you prefer, we could do just YouTube automation. But right now, let's just see what's in the SERP here, in the search engine results page. So it'll be YouTube automation tools for creators. So right here, just a side note, this is the SGE. This is a search generative experience. This is Google's new initiative into kind of simplifying the search, where they're summarizing what the search results are, and then they're just feeding it. But if we want to write, ultimately, this is fed into by some of the high quality content that ranks highly here. And so I think that there's value in creating a strong post for it. So Content Studio Blog looks like it's something that's niche specific to YouTube automation for creators. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to like, this looks like a nice meaty post, well-structured, nice images and everything. So what we're going to do is we're going to find what the different top ranking sites are, and we're going to understand why they're ranking so high. So right here, sorry, I got to catch up here. This is part of the reverse engineer step. And this is where we're going to use GPT-4. I should actually start a new chat. And you want to use a plugin. Now, you can do it with Bing Chat, and you need to use Microsoft Edge, which is Microsoft's browser. So you could do that. I think it's just, I pay $20 a month. I think it's one of the best investments you can make these days is just to pay $20 for GPT-4, which is the most updated, best model of ChatGPT. And we're just going to paste in the URL of the top ranking posts. So now I'm going to take this prompt here. And so again, you'll have access to this. I'll share it later. But basically we're saying like, all right, you're an SEO expert and your task is to identify all the header tags. That's the H1, the H2, H3, what the keywords are that they're targeting in this post, what the latent semantic keywords are, the themes, the FAQs, the links. These are all things that are ranking indicators in Google that would identify something that's strong content. And so this is the first time I saw this, is like, whoa, this blew my mind. Kind of magical. And we'll do it for 2 URLs. So we have this Increditools. I don't know if any of these are familiar. let's see. But yeah, Increditool seems like it's a niche site specific for the type of audience that we're targeting. And the reason why I'm not doing like Aweber is like a little bit high domain authority, but they're an email service platform, or they're a CRM. So we'll just avoid that because it's not really specific to the type of customer that we're trying to target. So I pasted in the prompt. So we're going to see, can ChatGPT scan through using the plugin? Again, I use WebPilot here. You could use any WebPilot, but the plugin allows ChatGPT to to browse the internet for these URLs that I pasted. And then once it's browsed it, it's basically, Shanif, correct me if I'm wrong, it is looking at the source code of the page, pulling out the H1s, H2s, H3s. But then it's also using some of like the LLM to understand what those key themes are. It's using its analysis abilities to understand what makes them rank so high on Google. So it's right now going through using WebPilot, and soon we'll see what the output is. Shanif, how is this making sense so far?
Yeah, I think that this is super useful. And, just to clarify the task that we're working on right now, what we're trying to do is get to a point where we can build an outline. Is that right, Ken, for an article that we're going to write?
That's exactly right. Yeah. Right now we're just seeing why these top ranking posts are ranking high. From this, we're going to kind of gather it up, aggregate it into our own post, and then we're going to use, again, the magic of ChatGPT. Now, given this, and ideally maybe you want to do like the top 5 or so, write me an outline that includes all of the main keywords that we found on these top ranking posts. Write me an outline that includes what some of the other frequently asked questions are, what some of the other linked, either internal links or external links, what some of the other elements are. And then let's include it in our own post to make it even better. So we can see here the output that we're seeing for, it's listing all the H1s. Well, it doesn't have an H1, but it would just be the title tag, all the keywords, all the FAQs, the style of writing, and then why it is good. So again, this is for, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. We just had a comment from Zach saying, hey, this kind of feels like this is more of a framework to get to the execution. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the experiences you've had when you just ask an AI to write a blog post just from scratch without this process, and why you're going through this framework right now?
Yeah, totally. Great point. Because ultimately you're just going to, the more it's like garbage in, garbage out with ChatGPT or any of these AIs, where if you're giving it more context, more detail, more specifics of what you're looking for, you're going to get a far better output. Now we could say like, and maybe we could do this, write me a blog post that targets the keyword YouTube automation. And what you might get is something that's just like kind of like high level, surface level. Even if you're more specific, like I want to target the keyword to rank high on Google. But you're maybe missing some of the context and some of the information that will be helpful for ChatGPT or Claude to create it specific for the purpose of ranking high on Google. Because ultimately, like the reason why we want to write content is so that we can leverage the internet and we can get our ideas, our expertise in front of others. So that's why I think this framework is super important. And that's why it's worth just a few minutes up front to do the research so that the output is going to be far better. And that's why we're also going to write it section by section, because even if we give ChatGPT an outline, a detailed outline, it won't necessarily have the specifics. And again, we can do this, like just write the blog post based on this outline, or let's go section by section and write this blog post. And I think we'll see that the output when we write it and we don't ask it to do too much and we're very specific, will be far better. I hope that helps.
Great comment, Zach. And as from a technical standpoint, it's also one thing I'll throw in here is these LLMs sometimes will not, when these chat messages get really, really long, these LLMs can't actually process the entire history of your conversation. So what's going on in the background is they're trying to pick out the most relevant pieces of the conversation, which means you need to make sure they focus at any given point in time. You need to make sure that they focus on one subtask at a time, which is another reason why this outline and section by section process that Ken is about to show you works really well.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now we just did 2 of these URLs. I think, we could do more, but for the purposes of just getting it started, we'll just do this. So now let's go down to the next step in the slide, which is actually creating the outline. So you could do Claude, you could do ChatGPT. It doesn't matter necessarily, though. I think and it might be subjective. Claude, actually, I think I like the output more, but it doesn't have the plugins. Hence, I was doing things in ChatGPT with WebPilot. So now our step is to create a detailed outline for the blog post. So again, similar prompt to what we did before in terms of giving it the role. So you're an SEO expert, and the task is to write an SEO optimized blog post outline for the target keyword. And so we're going to add the target keyword here. Let's see here. Oh man, I don't think I copied and pasted it. Okay, I don't have a copy of that. Let's see, can I copy this? Okay, let's see here. All right, there we go. We're going to copy that. We'll go back to presenter mode. And then, so we're going to target, what do we do? YouTube automation for, and boom, done. So basically we have all of the analyses of the top ranking pages above us or in that same thread. And so based on that information above, we're targeting the keyword YouTube automation for creators, write an outline for this. So we're saying, okay, this is the culmination of basically you're taking the best of the best for this keyword, and we're going to be writing it out.
And again, sorry to interrupt. One thing that I don't think I told you I do after you told me this process, one thing I do is I actually have ChatGPT browse my website. So it browses my homepage, my product pages, and my services pages. And I tell it to learn about my website. And then I have it create an outline using everything I learned from my competitors as well as my own products. This makes it hyper-focused and personal.
Oh, that's fantastic. And then I assume it makes a more specific call to action and tailors everything specifically to Locusive.
Yep, exactly. So it's sort of learning about me and the topic I want to write about, and then it's using all that information to come up with the outline itself.
That's awesome. And yeah, so here we have about the author. Well, we don't have it, but if I gave it Locusive, it would be telling us about your Tap Commerce and Twitter and Locusive. So that's a great point. But now, all right, so we've done the outline. We're ready to basically write. And so what I'm saying is, yeah, let's write it section by section for the reasons that we mentioned above. And ultimately, it doesn't take that much more time. We're basically just copying and pasting. And if our post is, say, we're aiming for 2,500 words, and we can specify the ideal output. And so I do like to just insert the keyword YouTube automation for content creators. And so I have content marketing expert. And so we're writing the blog post based on the outline above, targeting the keyword. And then we're going to start by writing the introduction only. So that is important. And I've seen some people that might say respond with yes, or got it, or something, just to validate the instructions are heard. I didn't include that. We're just going to dive right into it. And then begin the post with a compelling and engaging opening hook. That's obviously super important now in this a lack of attention economy. And then here I just included some high level SEO references or the best practices. And generally the tone will be easy to read, then educational and informational. You can also do bottom of funnel, let's make this conversion focused, especially if it's they've done the research on Locusive and this is more for Locusive versus competitor. Markdown. So Markdown is just basically formatting to make it easier. And then there is an Markdown to HTML convert. I don't want to get too in the weeds now, but we can just drop this prompt in with the outline. So remember, we've got all the top pages. We know why they're ranking high. We've put an outline together that combines it all. And now we're just going to ask it to write the introduction going back here. So basically, we'll see what this is in text form. And, like we don't have time now to do this. You could do the exact same thing in tandem in Claude and then see which one comes out better. That's kind of subjective. I found Claude better. And then also the nice thing of why you might want to use Claude is so Claude has 100,000 token limit. Depending on which ChatGPT you're using, it might be a third of that, 32,000 or 16,000. And so that means that you can paste both texts into Claude, and then you might prompt it to say, hey, like combine these to make it better. And then like Shanif mentioned, you can paste in like this, your masterpiece or your best writing sample and write it in this tone. And so it's, again, you're just feeding it more data, more examples, and then your output is going to just be better. So here's our introduction. And then, it's just like, okay, continue. I'm not necessarily going to read through this, but we could just give it feedback. We can hone it as we're going, or we can just kind of do continue to write the whole post. For the sake of this presentation, I kind of just want to like show this, and there might not be a whole lot different in terms of writing the post, but I think it is a really cool experience to see in real time that Zach wants to write about YouTube automation. Maybe we found some alternative keywords that would be relevant, and then it's creating this post, like typing out. This to me is like, God, why did I spend so much time like pulling my hair out writing these posts, right? And it's like continue.
So again, when you're doing this, are you usually using ChatGPT, or do you use Claude, or do you use both and see which one comes out with the best response?
Well, Claude usually, I might, again, just for the longer context. And also the nice thing about Claude, and this I didn't really include in it, but Claude, because it can take more tokens, it can just take files. So you can say you want to use YouTube videos as an example. So say there's like a YouTube video that has 1 million views on YouTube automation. You can use a Chrome extension called GLASP. That's GLASP. And I mean, I can just bring it up here. So you can see I like stand-up comedy and basketball and AI. So let's say YouTube automation. And let's just go to this. This is like 5 days ago, 7,000 posts. I guess we can just do, let's just do this one. GLASP shows up right here. And what you can do is, this is a whole transcript of the video. And you can just click this here, copy. And then you can go to Claude and paste it in. And you can just say, summarize the top takeaways or whatever it is. So all of a sudden we've just saved ourselves 10 minutes, but it can do up to 120 minutes. 100,000 tokens is roughly 100,000 tokens is roughly 2 hours of video. So there you go. I think like that's also a really helpful tool to help augment what your outline looks like, what your content looks like. So we're just going to continue here, and blah, blah, blah. We could, I don't want to spend too much time on it because there is more. So if we're talking about like optimizing the post, now you want to make sure that the keyword is in the title, in the meta description, in the URL slug. I mean, all these things matter to Google in terms of a ranking indicator. So thankfully we have reached our conclusion. And so here's just the prompt for how you want to write your title, your description, and your slug. But we'll just get lazy here. based on the article. Give me a headline, description, and URL slug for keyword YouTube automation. Is that what it was? I forget. And so here, though, just to note that I had asked for 3. I always like to just get a few more options because ChatGPT will do the typical like unleash or unlock your YouTube automation, or just kind of these cliche words. So if you get more options, you can also say, hey, don't mention that. Oh, there it is. Unlock the power. So there you go. That's definitely written by ChatGPT. But we can use that nonetheless. So once we have our title, meta description, and URL slug, now this is a tool that's really helpful to take what has been written by ChatGPT and let's optimize it for search. So you might see this in a tool like, say, Surfer SEO, where it's taking the whole text and doing its NLP, natural language processing, to understand for this target keyword, how does it do? So I'm going to just copy this here. I'm going to copy all of I'll start from the top. Shanif, is this making sense so far?
Well, I've been doing this for a few weeks now, so it makes sense to me. I'm hoping that if anybody has questions out there, they'll give them over. Maybe what I could do is give a few tips that I found, again, as I've been going through this process. So one of the reasons I asked about Claude was because I find Claude to be not even like a little bit better, but like 200 times better than ChatGPT when writing long form content. And so what I do is I use ChatGPT to browse the web, take the top 3 to 5 competitors for a keyword. And by the way, I use bottom of the funnel keywords. That's a trick I've learned recently. And then I use it to browse my website. And then I'll copy everything that it gives me about what it has learned about my competitors, my website. I ask it to create an outline. And then I'll actually copy all that over into Claude. Cool thing about Claude is it's got, like you said, 100,000 token context window. And I think that it just provides a lot better output. Now, one of the things I do is I'll go through for each section and I'll read it and I'll make sure everything looks good. Sometimes I might ask Claude to put in placeholders for places where it might need a screenshot or a block quote. And I might also ask it to reword sometimes some things or provide more context about my product so that it becomes even more personalized. So hopefully this makes sense to everybody that's listening. If it doesn't, or if something is unclear, please send a quick chat message. This process has literally saved me 5 or 6 hours a week, and my SEO has now started to go pretty well, and it's already driven more conversions in the past couple of weeks than it did in the past 5 or 6 months.
Nice. That's amazing. And how are you finding those bottom of funnel keywords?
I think you gave me a good idea, which was start with how-to guides. So in my case, I do chatbot. So how to search your company data with ChatGPT, or how to create a chatbot that looks into your Google Docs, right? The how-tos are usually done by people who are ready to make a change. There's also competitor keywords, which are something like, hey, Locusive versus best alternative, or Locusive versus Intercom versus Chatbase. Those sorts of posts do really well. So those are really high intent keywords. Now, they're not going to have as much traffic as something that's top of the funnel, but they're going to lead to more conversions. So I start with that general rule of thumb, and I'll usually work off of some variation of those keywords.
Nice. That's awesome. So now I want to show you a tool called Neuron Writer. So in these tools, like I was talking about, like say Surfer or Content at Scale, there's a little dashboard on the right to show you how optimized for search your post is. So what I said in the beginning is like, this might be like a really well-written post for the human eye, but it might not meet some of the criteria that Google has for the specific keyword. And so there's a long list of ideas or checklists of things that you would need to do to ensure that your post is optimized for search. And so what I did is Neuron Writer, by the way, is I have it here. There's a lifetime deal at AppSumo. I got it, and it seems to be a really good deal. I don't know how they're doing this financially because everything costs something, I think. But you can just get it here if you want, and then you can just use it to 25 posts per month, or you can buy more. But that's what we're using here, and it's quantifying what the where we're at in terms of optimization. And so we're at 23. This shows what the top ranking post is. So it says top 1 in Google, and then kind of like the top 10. The median is 51. We're at 23, so it's not great, but it's relatively easy to bump that up. So one thing, for example, is we don't have a title or meta description. So that's where we did ask, all right, what's our headline going to be? Let's drop that in here. Our headline is this. Our description. I should have specified under 160 characters, but let's see. Okay, so it's a little bit long. Let's just trim it right here, for example. All right, and then where are we at? 23, so it's almost doubled it. Then we can go through right here in the headers. So there's the terms in article, and there's the headings. This is based on like basically of these of the top results. 80, we'll see here. It should say 80%. Oh no. Oh man, sorry, bad mouse. Basically 80%. I believe it's wait. Sorry about that. 80% of competitors use the term in their H1 headings, which would be here. And so YouTube automation, we should have that. Then YouTube automation, we should have that. I don't know YouTube automation. But anyway, we can go through the terms in the article. So YouTube automation is mentioned 19 times. And it says here between 6 to 19 times is like an ideal number of times to include it. Best YouTube automation, we don't have it all, but if we add it 1 or 2 times, it would make it more optimized. So there are a bunch of ways. You can also add media, you can add images, but let's get into that now. Now that we let's just say we hit 71 going through, it's a little bit of kind of like wordplay, massaging it to get it better. Let's just assume that we are optimized for SEO, but we can do even better. And AI is really cool at this. And this is something that I didn't know for a little while, but you can actually create tables, you can create charts, images, and EAT. I mentioned EAT here because people do ask, okay, will I get penalized for having AI generated content in the search results page? Like, will Google penalize me if it's not human written? And of course, there are AI content detectors. Questionable whether they work or not. OpenAI deprecated theirs just because they said it didn't work. But to answer this, EAT stands for experience, expertise, authority, and trust. So basically, like, are you adding your own personal flavor or your own unique perspective to this post? And so that will be a ranking indicator, because Google said, I think this is in February, it doesn't matter if it's AI generated or not, but what does matter is ultimately, does a user intent or does a user question get answered? Is it a good user experience? So if it's something like, some flimsy content that you just get out of ChatGPT, and this is to that question earlier from Zach, you're not going to get the benefit of organic traffic if it's like a 500 word blog post. But if you have a thorough post and then you're able to add some of these other elements in, you will be. So let's, here's just an example from that basketball shoes example, but you can ask ChatGPT or Claude, what are some ideas of images? Let's see in real time. What are some ideas? So yeah, we would just get these now, and then let's say you take a guess of what it might be. If I'm a YouTube automation, it might just be like a flow chart of here's the 10 steps that you need, or maybe it's like the equipment that you need to master YouTube automation, or maybe it's a graph of YouTube creator revenue over time, something like that. Oh, there you go. Tool comparison table, a workflow diagram. Okay, so let's just take one of these, and then I wonder if we could pull it from WebPilot, but create this table. Give me 10 examples. Zach, I don't know what site you're doing, but it might be helpful. Say if you align this with what your affiliate tools might be. So as you're ranking this higher on the organic search pages, you're offering a really great, thorough page and overview of YouTube automation. And then you can include affiliate links here. So that's a great way to monetize it here. These are tools. These are great tools. And then you just add in your link, like click here to learn more. And then it would just be your affiliate link.
Candace just asked a question again. Do you prefer Neuron Writer over Surfer SEO for optimizing posts?
I have not tried Surfer SEO. They were a competitor of Content at Scale, but I never tried it. But I have heard good things, and also ClearScope is another tool. Neuron Writer, again, cheap and scrappy. Like Neuron Writer is like does a job at a very reasonable lifetime deal price. So that's why I use it.
Zach also mentioned he uses vidIQ, not for blogs, but for scripts.
Oh, nice. There you go. Yeah, I mean, I do know that they have a good affiliate program because I signed up from Sean Cannell. But anyway, side note. Now we could just basically copy this. You're probably copying the text, and then you're pasting it into your CMS, your content management system. So there we go. That's just kind of like at a high level. What we did is we identified the keywords. So we use ChatGPT or Claude. Google Keyword Planner is another great example. You can just basically find some of your competitors or the sites that do well, add it into Google Keyword Planner, and then you can see the keywords that they're ranking for. You won't get a great idea of the search volume because it might just be like 100 to 1,000, or just huge ranges, 10,000 to 100,000. But directionally, it helps. And then, of course, you could paste that into another keyword tool that might give you search estimates. But from there, then we created the optimized headlines, which means we went to the Google search results for our given keyword. What are those top results doing? How are they doing it? What are the search terms, the headers? What's the structure looking like? We copied all that into one document. Then we replicated it into an even better document, more thorough, with the express intent of optimization for a specific keyword. Then section by section. Yes, it might be a little bit tedious, but I think if you want to compare the two, you'll see that is a far better output. And then we're optimizing for SEO. So that's like the charts, the graphs, the tables. We're improving the keyword, the NLP elements of it, and then images. I didn't really include Midjourney. Some people have challenges with Midjourney. I find that like even just like a simple, I can just show you here. So yeah, like these are the examples that I included in the slides. Like, just like simple and easy. But just to do it, is you simply type imagine, and then you add your prompt. That's basically all I do. Sorry, I don't want to get too far aside, but one cool thing is like if you do describe, so then you can just add in an image. So let's see here. I can just pull in a random image. Okay, so this is Austin City Limits. This was great concert this weekend. So it'll describe in text what the image is, which is great because then you can actually kind of like reverse engineer it and then just do it again. So let's just see, for example, it is Austin City Limits Festival for 2018. So it's wrong. It's not always great with text. And then you can just replicate it. So we were using the text of how Midjourney sees it, and then it's replicating it. So you'll get variations of something, which is really great if you have like one thing that you want to work, or say you see another image on another site that you like, and you want to do something different. You can upload it with the describe prompt. It will describe it, and then it'll give it back to you. So let's just see here. This is not what I intended to cover. But if there are any questions, please do let me know, because I do want to make sure that we answer any questions or thoughts or other strategies, tactics. I'd love to hear them.
Again, one of the things I'll do is once I get the AI to produce the entire blog post or article, as well as the SEO optimized keywords, title, metadata, everything, I'll have it come up with a prompt for the hero image that I can then copy and paste into something like Midjourney or Bing, so that I don't have to think about what prompt should I be using. As much as possible, I'm just outsourcing the thought process to the AI.
Absolutely, that's a great point. I mean, we could just do, like, for example, YouTube automation. And I'm just going to do aspect 16 by 9. So then it's like the 16 by 9 ratio. So it can be a feature image.
I didn't know you could do that.
Oh yeah. So that's critical. Yeah. So, I think one of the challenges with AI is, like, you don't know what you don't know. And so, like, this is one tool. There are different, like, prompt builders. So, like, say we want, like, YouTube automation, but, like, in this style of, so these are the different parameters that you could add. But what I think is kind of cool is, like, if you want the different styles, you could do it here. Or if there are different, like, camera apertures or lighting or whatever, different colors, you can do that. So if we do, say, like, YouTube automation, I didn't, so it's right there. And let's just say, like, in this lighting, in the style of Andy Warhol, and with foil material. And then so you can see with YouTube automation, this is our prompt this is just the seed of our idea. And then kind of like the nuances we'll add in here. And this is kind of like this unique Midjourney language. And so we can just simply copy the prompt and then paste it in there, and then boom, done. So that's just a quick thing in terms of, like, you definitely want images in your posts, and why not just use AI. Midjourney, I believe, is $10 a month, but I do use it a lot, and plus it's just kind of fun.
Again,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Travis has a question. What are the best ways AI can support paid media and video advertising instead of organic blog and SEO content?
That's a great question, and that is the topic of another conversation. But so to be frank, I don't do a lot in paid and like video or paid search, paid social, but advanced data analysis is really great for that. So I can show you that real quick here. All right, so this is a YouTube automation. Cool. That's pretty cool. And as you can see, just a simple prompt. So yeah, Travis, great question. It's advanced data analysis here. And so, let me know if you do use it. So again, this is a feature of GPT-4, $20 a month. But what you can do is you can upload files. You can upload CSVs. I don't know. Maybe I like keyword research. Some keyword research here. But I don't even know what this is. E-commerce. So this is basically having a data scientist on staff and at your fingertips. So tell me what this is. It'll give us an overview of, I mean, ideally it's better if you give it some context, but I'm sure it will tell us what the columns are, what the data points are. And then from there, we're going to be prompting it, like, depending on what you're looking for. And I think ultimately that's where you can separate great analyses from, like, moderate analyses, is like, what questions are you asking and what are you trying to get from it? And to help you frame that, really, you just want to find, like, what's a so what? How can I act on this? All right. So there was an issue reading it. I don't know why. But so to answer your question in short, I think, like, advanced data analysis is a great tool to help pull the quantitative insights in and then help you drive action from it. So for example, I've done this with exporting. Well, this is an organic example, but a Search Console export of search queries and how you're ranking for them. The equivalent would be like your paid search terms if you're running paid search campaigns. And then you're including what your click-through rate is, what your impressions are, what your conversion rate is, what your conversion value is. And then you can say, all right, what are the keywords where I'm getting the best acquisition costs, for example? What are the keywords that are related to my high converting keywords that I'm not currently running ads for? Maybe where can I trim my paid ads from broad match to exact match, or like stuff like that. But it's basically, you have to think about what the questions you're going to ask are, and then advanced data analysis can help provide you the answers. So I hope that helps.
Was this originally Code Interpreter again?
Yes.
Do you know? Okay.
Yeah, it was.
Cool. Well, cool. We've got 5 minutes left. If anyone else has any questions, please feel free to throw them in the chat.
Oh yeah. So I did add. You can download this and reach out to me, reach out to Shanif, and I'm happy to help with any questions that you might have. And if you have any ideas of like how you're using this, I would love to hear, because like ultimately I think what's most exciting and why I love being in the AI marketing space is because it's like this open like frontier where everybody's learning, sharing, and like new things are happening. I hope that I was able to share some cool ideas and use cases with you today, and pass them along, share them on social, whatever. But if you want any of like the processes or comments, drop it. You can go there or drop me a line. I'll send it to you. But ultimately, this would be like the playbook at a high level that you'd start with, and then you'd personalize it for your own specific use case, add your flavor to it.
And again, will you be sharing these materials?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you just go to AI content, you can just like, you can get it.
Awesome.
Or you can just email me or you.
And one quick shout out, we're going to be back next week. We're going to be talking about how to use these AI tools with your own data. It'll be a little bit more in depth in terms of what's going on behind the scenes, but teaching you how to actually create your own sort of mini version of an LLM that understands your business. So we'll be posting that on LinkedIn. We'll be back next week. So make sure to tune in for that if you're interested in that topic.
That's awesome. Do you need to be technical to get?
Nope. So my goal is to make this stuff as easy as possible for anybody to understand. Basically, a lot of folks that we've chatted with have said, hey, I would love to be able to have a bot that understands my product or my marketing. And so we're going to show you what you need to think about in order for that to happen. You might need an engineering team once you get started, but the talk next week won't be for techies. It's going to be for folks who want to understand how to do this at the highest level.
Fantastic. Yeah, thanks everyone who's still here and who joined. I know that a midday webinar is a commitment, so thank you for being here. And if you can just drop in like what it is that you would want to learn, love to. We're going to be doing this again, and so I'd love to just make sure that we create stuff that is helpful for you, whether it's your current challenges or things that you want to do in the future. But yeah, thanks again for being here.
Thanks, awesome. That was awesome again. Thank you so much for putting this together.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Yeah, thank you.